Yes.
Okay, good afternoon. Rabbi Sai, we're still recording from the Westmount Shul. Amidst the premier making announcements, we haven't heard all the announcements yet, but we're taking advantage of what we can. We're on page Chav Ches in the Beyam Darkecha. Speak about eating, and we're addressing the issues and the challenges of eating and why Hashem makes a person weak so that he feels the need to eat. So that why? Because a person has to feel the need to renew his connection to Hashem. And when a person is legitimately hungry, he automatically needs to bring in the nitzotzos, the holy sparks that are within the food, the will of Hashem, the Shechina that's in the food, to internalize it inside himself through the taste and the nutrition which it provides that he knows that comes from Hashem. And therefore, the act of eating is nourishing vitality from Hashem. It's a direct connection to Hashem. He's bringing inside of him, as it were, sparks of Hashem's life-giving force into the person. That was the main point that we were dealing with. Now we continue. Internet connection is unstable. Okay. We continue now with the question we left you off last week, where I got the little arrow. If a person would ask, hello, Gambali Achila, even if we don't eat, Hashem Yisparach Mahava Osanu Machayev Sanu. Does Hashem keep us existing and give us life even we're not eating? Right now, I'm not eating, you're not eating. Hashem is putting energy into us. B'chol reg, every moment. So the question is, why do we got to nourish life through eating, where we already have to be nourishing from Hashem anyway? The answer is, to remind a person that he lives by the divine light. To remind us that it's a fact that happens all the time. We have to be reminded. Because once the person becomes weak, now he feels he has to eat and drink. And it holds him back from anything he wants to do. You're busy, you're working, you're doing a lot of things. All of a sudden you're feeling very weak. Sooner or later you're going to feel weak. And if you don't feel weak and you're busy with so many other things, you're liable to forget about Hashem. And the hunger forces him to return and connect to his source, in a renewed way. In other words, he is saying, mankind is always, each and every one of us is constantly nourished by Hashem. But it's something we need to be reminded of. We often forget about it. I'm busy with my daily life, and I could totally forget about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So what does Hashem do as a friendly reminder? He creates us in a way that when we lose nutrition, we feel hungry, we feel weak. And we know without any food, I'm not able to continue. You could do it for a while, but depending on your constitution, sooner or later, you've got to eat and you know you don't have any strength. Then what do? You're going to take some food. But the whole point is to realize you're taking a break of your day. It's really an incredible idea. Many of us look at food as the main part of our lives. It is spiritually, but we don't understand why. But what Hashem is doing, if Hashem wouldn't make us hungry, of course he'd be giving us energy every moment. We could live without food. Hashem could have made us that way. But then we'd forget about Hashem. So Hashem has to build in to our daily routine feelings of weakness, knowing that I cannot live without Hashem's nutrition. And now I bring in nutrition into my life. And now I've renewed my connection with Hashem. So really very interesting. Just like tefillah, prayer 3 times a day to your connection with Hashem. And we have to explain, it's going to be a separate section, understanding what tefillah is all about. That's almost the third last section. So that's going to be months and months from here. But besides that, eating has to be part of our lives. It's important to eat a few times a day when we are weak to realize that I need to have this reconnection with HaKadosh to bring energy inside of us. Hold on, let me just do the footnote and then I'll take your question because it could be your questions in the footnote.
Comment.
Okay, comment? What's the comment?
He also does it in such a pleasurable way.
Of course he does it in a pleasurable way. So when we're reconnecting, good point, it's a pleasurable. It's not like chas v'shalom, like sick people, they need nourishment. It's not always pleasant, right? It's like so geschmack. It should always taste good. It's not a labor. It's not a chore. It's geschmack. It tastes good. Yeah, well, yeah. So Stan is pointing out one of the effects of COVID is you can't taste. So now this becomes another collateral problem. In other words, maybe it's a tikkun. We took advantage. Very good point, Stan. We took advantage of being able to taste. We didn't recognize the kindness. Why? So we should feel connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Hashem says, okay, go eat food without tasting it. See how good that is. I mean, you got to do it, but it's not enjoyable anymore. And then maybe you're only eating because you're really hungry. So that's the simple answer. But below the line, we get a deeper explanation. Right over here by the arrow, Lamed Zayin. Yesh tshuva amuka yoser. There's a deeper answer. Which is, Sheratzon Hashem Yisbarach Hu. The will of Hashem is, She'adam yegala asaluko so Yisbarach. A person should reveal divinity of Hashem. Dafka b'makom shu muster v'nelam. Dafka in the place where it's concealed. It's not a trick to reveal God where he's revealed. The trick is to reveal God where he's most not revealed. Remember the famous mashal, a king is a king over let's have a huge country. Okay, so it's no kunst to say the king rules over the capital. It's not a big kunst to say he rules over provinces that are close by. But how about he rules over places that are hundreds and hundreds of miles away? Can't even recognize it's this country. But if he still rules over there, that's a real trick. That is a real ruler. Even where you couldn't tell that you have the long arm of the king, he still rules over there. Same thing over here. When a person would just take the heart when he eats and drinks, he has to remember that food is not an independent reality, but rather all the life force in it. It's only from the divine light. That he nullifies that concealment. And he reveals that the apparent reality to the eyes is only superficial. And the main thing is the inner content. It's the light of Hashem. In other words, if you ask a regular secular person, you're eating food, what's keeping you alive? He's saying the food keeps me alive. How? Because of the nutrients that are in there. You ask him, is God keeping you alive? Nothing doing. I'm eating the food. I'm eating food and food that keeps me alive. How does the food keep you alive? It has nutrients. Where do nutrients come? Nature. So no God. Comes a Jew, comes along, and what does he do? And you'll see shortly, he's going to mention this. That's why we make a bracha. That's the whole point, is so we don't forget what we're supposed to be remembering during this time. So now what are you saying? I know when I'm eating this, 1 second, it's not the way it looks, but it's really Hashem is giving me life from this. And that's where I'm coming to have a deeper appreciation of Hashem, and that's my avodah. And that's that's a good trick. That's a smart thing to know that it's Hashem while you're eating the food is giving you the nutrition, not anyone else. Yes, Shlomo.
Rabbi, you answered it, but still I would like a more clear answer. Like, how would you say it in terms of fasting?
Saying it in terms, what do you mean in terms of fasting?
when you fast, right? So
Yeah.
we are not eating. We are not eating. We're
Yes.
not.
So now we're feeling weak, right? Right?
Yes.
When you're fasting, you're feeling weak. Why? Because I'm not getting the nutrition from a Kodesh Baruch Hu,
Well,
right?
then why are we fasting then?
Wow, we're fasting is because unfortunately people forget and they think it's only the food that keeps them alive. Unfortunately, when people are hungry, if all of us looked at food the way I just described it, we'd have a base of Middos, we wouldn't be fasting anymore. But since we don't believe that Hashem's the source of that reality, so Hashem says, I see the food is not doing the trick. So maybe for a day, don't have any food at all. And maybe the next time you're going to eat, you're really going to be hungry. And maybe think about why you're hungry. That's the whole point. You're right. Remember, when we had a Beit HaMikdash, the only fast day we had was no other fast days. Okay, and why that? That's a different story. The fast is a different story there. Because then we really reach the level of an malach who doesn't have to eat. In other words, this message, Yom Kippur is a day in reality, but it's hard for us to see it, is where the complete dominion of Hashem is completely perceived. It's mammoth. No one's fooling around on Yom Kippur. We're dressed like angels. Like, eat a lot better on Yom Kippur, hopefully. So there's no need to eat on Yom Kippur. Hashem doesn't have to remind us of anything. What's to remind you about? You know the reality. It's Yom Kippur. You're purified from all sin. What's the point? So that's why you don't have to eat. Just like Malachim don't have to eat. They don't need to be reminded. So in Yom Kippur, we reach such a level, we don't have to be reminded. Purim is the exact opposite. Purim is, you know what, we're in such a crazy world. Remember, what's the whole idea of Purim? Masquerade. Everything's concealed. Megillas Esther, Megaleh, reveal Esther, that which is hidden. So what do we have to do? We have to eat a lot, where it really looks like it has nothing to do with Yiddishkeit at all. And then what do? We sing praises to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the real avodah. That's the real eating avodas on Purim. Because we're going to the other extreme. We're going to the depths of non-godliness, so to speak, on the superficial level. And we're bringing out Hashem even in those situations. But on a regular fast day, it's because the Beis Mikdash was destroyed, which we will talk more about tomorrow night in Mirz Hashem, about the fast this Friday, an unusual fast on Friday of Shabbos, what we should be thinking about. So I think that was a good question, Shlomo, and I hope you liked the good answer.
Thank you, Rabbi.
So the deeper point over here is the greater the concealment, the greater is the value of the revelation. Food is such a physical thing, it would seem that God has nothing to do with food. Just look at the food advertising industry, where you'd never believe there's anything called God with all the way they advertise food. And now you go to this food and you understand that it's completely giving energy from Hashem. Wow. Similarly, when a person, God forbid, gets sick. So now when you're going to take medicine, how do you look at it? You need to know. Everything depends on the inner aspect. Hashem is the healer. Sometimes Hashem makes it. It has to come enclosed with an external covering, a garment. But taking medicine, it's the same idea. And therefore, there's let's see the next paragraph. You have to remember this. You go to the doctor. You're not going to the doctor. You're going to Hashem. You take a medicine, it's Hashem. How come this medicine is able to make a cure? Because scientists found it out? Are you crazy? It's Hashem's energy. Everyone's looking for the vaccine. Who should we thank for the vaccine, if there'll be one to thank for the vaccine? Let's hope it is. We're going to thank the people, the pharmaceuticals. They're the ones who should thank Hashem more than anybody else. But anyway, we don't thank the pharmaceuticals. I mean, per se, It's Hashem has put life-giving energy to heal the sick. So therefore, velolitos, don't make a mistake. From superficial views, what our eyes see. Elokacha says a true love. Yes, you take the medicine, but to remember in your mind, and to say with your mouth, the medicine in and of itself is zero. It's a tool which encloses the divine light, which that light of Hashem, Veraku, and only that light is Hamarape, is the one that causes healing. And therefore, there's a little prayer you could say, Baruch Rofei Cholim. If you're sick and you're taking a Advil or whatever, you don't say Hashem's name, just say Baruch Rofei Cholim. Blessed is the one who heals the sick. And that's why you're saying it's not the pill. It's a Kadosh Baruch who's doing this. So this is the deeper aspect where, of course, we could live without it, but then we would lose that connection from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, Hashem had to also create the idea that if we totally stop eating, we will die. Because as long as we don't die, a person can say, well, I'll decide not to eat. So now you could understand, for example, how is it that Moshe Rabbeinu is able to go up to the mountain for 40 days and not eat or drink and live? The answer is because he was totally connected. He was totally plugged into HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's no way Moshe would forget anything. That his existence came from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So in theory, you don't need to eat. And there'll be a time in the world's existence will be such, probably, in Olam Haba, in the next world, there's no need to eat because you're never going to forget that. The only thing you're going to ingest is wisdom. There's no need because really you don't need it. You don't need it. But now Hashem has created a human being that although he doesn't really need it, Hashem created that he needs it or else he'll forget about it. Kadosh Baruch Hu. Yeah.
Getting back to medicine for a second, we know that ultimately comes from Hashem.
Yes.
So we have to be thankful to the scientists and for the doctors who like for instance, when the rabbi was diagnosed, and you must have been very thankful to the doctors for finding out
Yeah.
that they were sick.
We thank them as God's agents,
Right.
but not as anything more than
Not
that.
ultimately, but still.
No, Hashem is the one who's healing me. That's the only one who's healing me. Yes, you thank the doctor for being an agent of God.
Don't worship angels.
And I don't, and therefore, if the doctor would tell me to do something that would be totally contrary to Allah, I wouldn't listen to him. Right? And a lot of things I did, you have to be careful because don't put your trust in them. That's the point. Even if he's the nicest and best and humble and all those things, that cause you to live. That's why they said a story with a very famous Rebbitzin many, many years ago in Eretz Yisrael. She was very sick and she needed a very difficult surgery. And she insisted on having the best surgeon in Eretz Yisrael. And people kind of thought, and she had to do a lot of effort to do that. It wasn't like so simple. I had to pull a lot of strings. And people were wondering, that wasn't her spiritual profile. She was a big maimon in Hashem. So she finally meets the doctor and go over the surgery and everything. So when the doctor says, I just want to tell you one thing. There's a reason I asked for you. Because I want to be able to tell you that even though you're the best doctor in the world, I don't have any trust in you, only in Hashem.
Whoa.
And I wanted the biggest doctor to show that even the biggest doctor in the world, I thank you. But and he was a secular guy, so she wanted to give him the musser. Okay, so that's, you should make the efforts to get the best doctor, but don't put your trust in that effort. If there's a doctor that his record is like a C- in surgeries, you don't go to kill yourself, right? You want somebody who the hishtadlus is reasonable, right? It's interesting. They never tell you the records of surgeons, do they? You can never know their score.
They won't.
They won't. There's a good reason for it. You think every doctor is so good? You know, and when the person's dead, they have no one to complain to, so it doesn't matter. Okay, anyway, but the point is to realize it all comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So this is why we have to be hungry. So we should look forward to being hungry. It's a reminder. I have to take my God pill, so to speak, to remember that there's Hashem in this world. And the reminder is so pleasant. You should know sometimes Hashem has to remind us it's not pleasant. Hashem gives us sicknesses that we can't enjoy food. You have certain sicknesses that you can't, you have to eat, and you mamish can't stand eating, but you got to eat, and you throw up the food you're eating. So be thankful that the worst is you're hungry. That's why you have to be careful. You should never say an expression like, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. Because when you say that, you've already lowered the whole idea. You know, you're not that hungry. You say, I'm so hungry, I can't wait to have a bite of Hashem.
Give me that red stuff.
No, yeah, I'm saying I want to nurse from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, just like a baby loves nursing from the mommy. Okay, I want to nurse from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But you got to see that it's Hashem's breasts that are giving you to drink and to eat. That's how you have to look at it. But obviously, as much as this is a great situation, that leads us to part Gimel, next subcategory. After we've finished the subcategory on eating as a connection to Hashem, subcategory Gimel 3 is Hamilchama, the war. The war. V'hinei, behold, kechol shemalos achil higdol, as virtuous as eating is, v'zman godol v'otzom, it's a great, powerful time, shvo adam yischaber l'makor chiyuso, where a person can connect to the source of his existence, b'yeser seis, with greater elevation, v'yochel liskos b'zel l'dveikus atzuma Hashem Yisroch, you can merit the most awesome cleaving to Hashem when you're eating, because you're feeling Hashem putting energies in you. But for every positive spiritual reality, there's an equal and opposite negative reality. So the Yetzer wants to prevent from the person this cleaving. Says the Zohar, Shizman achila huzman milchama. The time of eating is a time of war. Okay, how do you say in biblical Hebrew, bread? Lechem. Lechem comes from the root milchama. War. Lochem is to battle. Why is it called hamotzi lechem in aretz? What about pas? What about, there's a lot of words for bread. But lechem, bread is the staff of life. Why is the staff of life called lechem? Because that's the biggest battles you ever fight in your life, is over a piece of bread or food in general. Because it's really a battle for your soul. Because you have such a great opportunity to come close to Hashem. So the Yetzer is going to try to turn it on the opposite to make it a battle that you're going to be so far away from Hashem. The greater the spiritual opportunity, the greater the spiritual downfall and the negativity that can come out of this. And where's the battle fought? We come back to our unfriendly klipos, the shells. The battles in the shells. What does that mean? They want to conceal Hashem. Therefore, they make a lot of effort to cause for a person to only think of the physical properties of the food. And to forget the light of Hashem, which is the inner life force, that's the true force. That's the battle. The Yetzer says the food is keeping you alive, enjoy it. The Pnimi says it's Hashem who's keeping you alive. Vavoda Seinuhi, and our avoda is legalus, to reveal Shakol Zerak or Hashem Yisroch. All this is a manifestation of the divine light. Ulahavan lahargish, and to feel, understand, Shemash Niraim, that which appears to the eyes. Kiliyesh la'ochel tamatzmi, that food seems to have its own independent taste. Zet lo nachon, that's completely false. El ha'emasi, the truth is, Shachias v'hatam, the life, nutrients, and the taste. Himrak arlo aloki ovad. It's only the divine light alone. El shumachusa, but it is concealed. Footnote 30 Lamed Ches Nun Beis PS. V'zeh ma shenichtav asfar kedoshim. This is what the Holy Books write. Shebachila, during eating tzarich legalus laharim es hashchina kedosha. During eating, we have to reveal and elevate the holy Shechina. And what's Shechina? A Shechina who kini l'Hashem Yisbarach. Shechina is a what do you call it? A nickname for the divine light of Hashem. Extra near miskalkan, how it's revealed in this world. In the lower world, how is Shechina revealed? How is Hashem revealed? Through the Shechina. So therefore, the entire spiritual content that keeps you alive, the nutrition, the vitamins is the Shechina, the taste is the Shechina. The inner content of the food is the divine light that's enclosed and revealed to creation. But that's only if you reveal it. In our service, therefore, is to reveal the holy Shechina, then to reveal that the physical coverings, it appears that they have independent taste and power. It's not true. And therefore, there's only the divine light. That's the truth. And anything on the outside is only a garment. So now that's why we make the bracha. When we say that blessed are you, God, King of the universe, that everything exists by your word, we're talking about the taste and the nutrition is to reveal it. If we have kavana when we're doing that, that's when you win the battle. And of course,
a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Is it advisable to eat lechem in the morning then?
I'm sorry, otherwise it's what?
It is advisable to eat lechem in the morning, bread, to start your day.
Bread in the morning. Lav dafka bread, doesn't have to be bread. All food is a battle. God has only named one food as a battle. We make it into all other foods. Again, since bread is life, if it's a milchama, then everything's a milchama. Everything's a battle. You should eat something in the morning. It's very easy. It might be a deeper pshat. What the Gemara says, if you don't eat before noon, it's a funny expression where it says, it's like you're putting something in an empty barrel. It's like it's not energizing you. I think it could be now. I mean, it could be physically too. But I'm saying, if you haven't reconnected to Hashem, that the physical world, davening is one great thing. But obviously Hashem felt besides the davening, there has to be the eating. If you don't eat till noon, nothing, don't make any bracha, that's something physical in Hashem. It's like you're putting into an empty tank, an empty spiritual tank. That's what we have. Okay, we'll have to stop and see why the Yetzer Hara is battling us so strongly on this, if it's not obvious by now. Okay, everybody, enjoy your lunch, your supper.
I heard it's about 3 hours, the first 3 hours.